There is a feeling that nobody warns you about. The feeling of money arriving that you weren't expecting, even when you were expecting it. Even when you filed the form, waited the weeks, checked the portal 3 times, when it actually lands, something shifts. Moríre sat on the edge of the bed for a long time, just looking at the number. She had not seen her balance look like that in 8 months. The first thing Moríre felt was relief. The second thing she felt was pressure, because suddenly the money was real, and suddenly everyone had an opinion about it. Her mother called that evening somehow she always knew and suggested sending some home, just a small something. Tolu mentioned the laptop he had been needing for interviews. A colleague had been talking about a stocks and shares ISA all week. And somewhere in the back of Moríre's mind, quiet but persistent, was the credit card. £4,200. Still sitting there, still gathering interest. Everyone was right. That was the problem. Here is what Moríre knew about the credit card. The interest rate was 24.9%. Every month she carried that balance. The bank was charging her nearly £87 in interest alone. Not reducing the debt, just the cost of having it. She had been paying £94 a month minimum, which meant £87 of that was disappearing into interest, and only £7 was touching the actual balance. At that rate, it would take her years to clear, and cost her far more than £4,200 in the end. She wrote the number down. Then, she wrote another number beside it. If she put £1,000 of the rebate directly onto the card, the interest charge would drop. The minimum payment would stretch further. The timeline would shorten. It wasn't exciting. It didn't feel like winning. But Moríre was learning something important about money. The most powerful moves rarely feel like winning in the moment. She told Tolu about the plan. He was quiet for a moment. Then he said,
"What about the laptop?"
And Moríre said,
"What about it?"
And he said,
"I need it for the interviews. You know that."
She did know that. She also knew that they had been having a version of this conversation for 3 months, where the money wasn't enough for everything and someone always felt like they were being deprioritized. This is the part of personal finance that the spreadsheets don't capture. Money in a household is never just numbers. It is compromise and communication and the quiet weight of 2 people trying to build the same life from different fears. They agreed. £800 to the credit card, £300 for the laptop, £200 kept as a small buffer, £163 to top up the emergency fund they kept, meaning to start. It wasn't the mathematically perfect answer, but it was the answer they could both live with, and that mattered too. She pressed confirm. £3,400 remaining. Still a number that needed attention, but smaller and headed in the right direction. She opened the spreadsheet, updated the balance, recalculated the interest. New monthly interest charge, £70. Saving, £17 a month. It sounds small, and it was small, but Moríre had stopped dismissing small. Small, compounded over time, was how the gap had grown in the first place. Small, redirected, was how she was going to close it. Moríre didn't celebrate that night. There was nothing to celebrate yet, but there was something to acknowledge. She had received money and not panicked. She had made a plan and not avoided it. She had sat across from her husband and talked about something real. For someone who had spent 8 months feeling like money was happening to her, that was progress. In the Wealth Parlour, we call this the shift. The moment you stop reacting to money and start directing it. Moríre wasn't out of the woods, but she had found the path. Next week, Tolu gets a job offer, and Moríre discovers that 2 incomes can create a whole new set of problems. The Wealth Parlour. New episodes every Thursday, because your money story deserves a better ending.